name's Brittney, and I'm a survivor of the school shooting at Heath High School. On the day of the shooting, I was in the lobby of my school. We were meeting for a morning prayer group that would occur each morning before the start of classes. And we were in a circle, and as soon as we said amen, the student behind me opened fire on us. He was directly behind me. One of my close friends was shot and killed nearby me, as were several other students. There were a total of 8 that were injured, and 3 students passed away. When the shooting was going on, I kind of went into shock. I really didn't know what was going on. A friend of mine jumped up off the ground and grabbed me and took me to the floor. And it really wasn't until we hit the floor that I started to understand what was happening and what was going on around me. And a lot of kids took off running. I froze and ended up being a witness to the entire event. I think for me, in a lot of ways, it's helped me be an advocate for people who have also experienced other acts of violence. In 1997, Heath High School was one of the first school shootings to ever happen in our country. And there really wasn't a path carved forward for us to show us how to deal with this. And so I find myself oftentimes working with survivors in different communities and helping them navigate a path that I kind of had to navigate on my own as a 15-year-old kid thrown into a situation that really few people in the country had ever experienced. I also feel I'm a big proponent of mental health. I think we don't focus on that as much. There's the tendency to think that when these things happen, after a certain period of time, you're okay, you move on, and you don't need help anymore. And that's not been my experience. And what I hear from other survivors is it's not their experience either, but there's just this weird assumption in the world that we should be able to carry on with our lives as if nothing happened. And so being able to normalize the need for ongoing mental health support is something I find myself day to day normalizing for other people, and in a way that helps me normalize it for myself. I want to see them do something. I feel like at this point, it's a very hot topic politically for people to talk about this issue. It's not very popular to try and actually do something. And so I feel like when we talk about this issue in policy, everybody takes a side. And in my opinion, there are no sides except the side that helps people save their own life, the life of their friends, the life that they care about. And so instead of just offering thoughts and prayers, I would love to see people gather around a table that's in the shape of a circle so that you literally can't pick a side, and that people would listen to understand. Because when I have gone into policy meetings, in some instances, I feel like while I'm talking, they're not listening because they're already formulating a response in their mind to what they think I'm saying, and they're not even hearing me. At the end of the day, it's too important to pick a side and not all come together and figure out a way to address this. We may not be able to figure out a way that fixes and stops every instance of mass violence, but right now we're doing nothing. So whatever we could do could be better than nothing. The journey towards recovery and resiliency is so heavily tied to a person's mental health. I don't think we look at mental health as a person's overall health, but when you look at a lot of research and data, you will see that people who are survivors of shootings have poorer outcomes in all other aspects of health, with diabetes, heart disease, all of these types of things struggle. And so if we want to really empower somebody to walk the journey and to become resilient, we have to make resources available, and we have to be able to provide services that meet people at the different points. We're really good about putting services in the beginning and kind of close to the middle, but when you start hitting these other year marks, those services dwindle. The resiliency centers that were there, that were funded, are no longer being funded. And so I think we desperately need funding from our nation's government to be able to support the long-term journey and not just the initial effect that these events have on people. what I wish people knew is that sometimes we suffer in silence a lot because there's a lot of judgment on why are you struggling because you should be over this, all of those kinds of things. And so making sure that people understand it's not just the day of the event that will be like hard to go through. It's the week before. My shooting happened in the month of December. And so one of the things I struggle with is Thanksgiving, that week leading into that first week of December. There's all these little trauma triggers that we have that the general public and people may not know about, but just understanding that normal day-to-day activities can be really hard. And sometimes it can be harder around the time of your event, or it may be if you were connected to somebody who passed away, maybe around that person's birthday, you're going to struggle. And so just again, normalizing and helping people understand it's okay to have those emotions, and that even if we appear okay, sometimes we still need support.
To hear more from other survivors, visit the Supporting Mass Shooting Survivors website.